Cinema Wellman. I'm your host, David, and today what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the life of someone you probably never heard of, and her name is Tilly Losch. And the whole idea behind this group of segments or episodes that will be on the blog and here on the podcast, what I'm going to do is I'm going to explore actors and actresses who have received a very unique credit at the beginning of a film, and it's a credit that is not used as frequently now as it was back in the day. I did a quick lookup on the interwebs, and I found some statistics that tell me that since 1900, there have been an average of 2,577 films produced each year around the world. And I think that does include the 500 or so that Nicolas Cage usually does every year. And I try to watch as many films as possible. And if you've been following Cinema Wellman on at Cinema Wellman on Instagram and or Twitter, you're more than aware of what's going on here and how many movies I actually watch. I did some more looking into the archives and did some math, and over the last decade, I have averaged over 500 movie screenings a year, and my high was in 2020 of 1,000, and I blamed that on COVID and being locked down in the cinema. I know it wasn't all the reason, but I slowed down a bit last year and only watched 916 movies, and this year I've got it under control, and I'm only on a pace to watch about 884. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and there's a lot of things that I watch, and if you know me, you know that I will watch anything, pretty much anything, if it doesn't have Kevin Costner in it. As an English teacher, I always encourage my students that the lead, the hook at the beginning of a creative piece was ultra important, and you need to get the interest of your audience, your reader, in this case, viewer, when we're talking about movies. And if you don't catch them right in the beginning, you might lose some of them. It sometimes can make or break the entire product. I feel the same way about movies in many cases. Now, we know that introductions to characters and settings and conflicts obviously important, obviously more important than what I'm going to talk about today, which is the opening credits. I love opening credits, especially from the classic cinema times where all of the credits were front-loaded. Everything you got in the beginning. The only thing they saved for the end was the end. And you got everybody from the major players to the music to the people who designed the gowns. You got them from the start, from the beginning, before the film even begins. This is not done anymore. There are so many people working on film production these days that doesn't make any sense. Sometimes I'll watch a movie and the end credits are 8 minutes, 9 minutes. There are that many people working to produce the film that you're watching. And I'm all for giving people credit. Give credit where credit is due, as they say. But that part of the cinematic world that we get all the credits in the beginning, it doesn't exist anymore. And that to me, that's kind of sad, because it's always fun to see that all thrown out to you right at the start. The credit that I'm going to speak specifically about today and in upcoming podcasts and blogs is what I call an introducing credit. And that means that the studio had enough interest in you, or wanted to really showcase you in such a way that they decided to, during the opening credits, put your name your name at the kind of end of those opening credits with a special slide that says introducing introducing so-and-so. And this is a heavy crown to wear. And there are, I'm sure, dozens and dozens and dozens of reasons why actors and actresses were given this type of credit at the start, seemingly, of their careers. Who deserves these credits? These standalone credits, the spotlight on them. Was this reserved for, superstars in the making? People that the studio or the director or the producer or all three thought were going to be the next big thing in Hollywood? I think it varies. Were they friends with the producer or the director? Who knows? But they get this solo kind of attention. And again, it's right at the beginning. And introducing whoever it is. So today what we're going to do is we're going to look at the life and the film career of someone who was given the and introducing credit at the beginning of her career. We're going to look at not really much about the film, but about one of the actresses in it. And the film is the 1936 film, The Garden of Allah. And this is when the film world was introduced to someone by the name of Tilly Losch. And Tilly Losch takes part in this film and her other films in her filmography as a dancer, because she was a dancer. The film itself, The Garden of Allah, again, 1936, it's an adventure romance, and it tells the story of a star-crossed desert romance, I know I'm repeating myself there, of a cloistered woman, played by Marlene Dietrich, and a renegade monk, played by Charles Boyer. And the cast includes, at least the cast named on the poster, had a total of 8 Oscar nominations and 1 win. And listed among those Hollywood stars was Tilly Losch. And she was giving the and introducing credit. So spotlight on Tilly. So who was Tilly Losch? Tilly was born in 1903 in what is now known as Austria. And she lived until the age of 72, where she passed while living in New York City on Christmas Eve in 1975. Miss Losch was a classically trained dancer and ballerina, and she studied ballet from childhood, made her dancing debut, I think solo dancing debut at 10. She was also like 6 years old and dancing for Viennese opera companies and things like that. Absolutely amazing. And she made her London debut at the age of 25 and worked in London and New York. She went back and forth working as a dancer and a choreographer. While she was in New York, she actually danced with Fred Astaire in the musical version of The Bandwagon. And some stage success led her to a film career, which was short, but Tilly made her mark, I think. I think everybody makes their mark. Even if you appear in one film over your career, you've made your mark, and it's indelible. Tilly Losch's filmography is 4 films. She played Irina in The Garden of Allah in 1936, Lotus in The Good Earth in 1937. She was a just dancer, not even given a name, in Backstage in 1937. And in 1946 was her last film. She played Mrs. Chavez in Duel in the Sun. And that's it. That's it. That's all Tilly did. She got this, woo, here you are, and introducing, and then she only made 4 films. She became dissatisfied with supporting roles, and I have a feeling she probably was upset about being typecast as a dancer because, well, she was a dancer. So if you're a dancer and you're in the movie because you can dance, then you're going to get cast as a dancer. So she got tired of this kind of, this background life supporting roles and things like that. So she left, and she quit to concentrate on dancing. She was the chief ballerina to the famous George Balanchine. Even I know him, and I don't know anything about dancing. Tilly later became an accomplished painter as well. She was an artist in every sense of the word, you could say. She was married twice, and there are good stories about both of her husbands. Her first husband, Edward James, was so enamored with Tilly, so into Tilly, and who wouldn't be, that he had her wet footprints imprinted into the actual carpet in his home. Tilly used to emerge from the bath and walk up this spiral staircase and leave her wet footprints in the carpet. So her first husband, Edward, had those footprints woven into the rug, which is, I think it's very, very, very cool. When they got divorced, he did the same thing with his dog's footprints, so I don't know. But for a while there, it was Tilly's footprints, and that's a cool thing. And I don't know, has anybody ever loved you that much that they would change their old carpet and put your feet on their carpet? I think that's a fantastic story. I love that story. And her second marriage was to a man named Henry Herbert, who was the 6th Earl of Carnarvon. Whatever that is, English stuff. Which made Tilly the Countess of Carnarvon in real life, not in movies. She was a countess, real life, and had her footprints embedded in somebody's carpet. Still loving that. So that's it. Tilly Losch had a short, very brief imprint, little stint in Hollywood, but it sounds like she led quite a life away from the cameras, and that's the kind of allure of, at least for me, of these segments about these people that were given this very special and unique credit in a film, and maybe it wasn't their whole thing. Maybe they had other things going on in their life. That was just part of their journey, as it were, at the time. So that's it for Tilly Losch and introducing Tilly Losch. Other upcoming and introducing segments will feature Gloria Warren, Lawrence Tierney, Geraldine Page, Ali McGraw, somebody you might have heard of by the name of Jack Lemmon. Also got an and introducing credit. So continue to follow on Instagram and Twitter. It's at Cinema Wellman. And of course, the official blog of Cinema Wellman is cinemawellman.blogspot.com. And that's about it for this episode. We will talk soon. Take care.